Folks, I was tricked. Nah, for real. I do have to clear some things up. But you already must know what turned me on to wanting to watch this film. It's Frank Grillo once again, but I was mildly tricked with this one. It's okay, because I got plenty of thoughts, so let's jump into my review of his new film, Shattered. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the film Shattered, which is available now in some selected theaters, but then will be on DVD and Blu-ray come February 22nd. So, saw this pop up as something I could possibly get a chance to review. I saw my man Frank Grillo. Didn't even need to read anymore. That was it. But he's been really working his ass off. I gotta give him that. He's popping up in movies left and right, and majority of them I have just been entertained with. Whether they have been a good film or not, they've been enjoyable. But this one here was really not what I was expecting. And again, it's not to say that it was a bad film, but I had certain expectations, and then they really didn't come to fruition. That's probably because I should have read the synopsis. But however, when I did read the synopsis, I feel like the synopsis gave away a lot. Because I think if this film could have kind of lured you in the sense of how I saw Frank Grillo and I was like, cool, going to watch it. And you kind of see how the plot kind of unravels and takes a twist. And then things get kind of crazy towards the end. I think it would have been much more enjoyable for folks if you didn't read the synopsis. So with that being said, the unpredictability of this film, I liked it. I did like it, but there was things I didn't like. First off, I have to say that first of all, I'm disappointed because I didn't get Frank Grillo to like the last hour of, the last 30 minutes of the film, an hour into the film. So I almost forgot he was in it to a point. And also how the plot was developing, I was kind of like, well, where does he fit in here? Like I kept guessing, like, where does he fit in? And you know me as a big Frank Grillo mark, I'm looking for him to do some martial arts. I need some combat. I need some hand-to-hand combat, choreography, all that good stuff. You know, that's what I'm signing up here for. But quite frankly, he plays so many different roles so good that I just appreciate seeing him on film. But again, it took an hour for him to appear. And then the whole entire time I kept saying, like, where does he fit? Also talking about how things in the film, the first 30 minutes of the film I didn't care about at all. Seeing how the plot was kind of developing and setting the foundation, I wasn't really buying into it. You have these two characters, Sky and Chris. Chris is a tech billionaire, we're gonna say. He's wealthy. He's a millionaire. He's a tech millionaire, and he randomly by chance meets this woman, Sky, who is, available. She's down on her luck, and she seems like the perfect person for him. I mean, Chris is just coming out of a divorce or getting ready for a divorce, and so he's back on the market, and Sky's just kind of all over the place. She also have a little bit of a situation of herself that she's trying to get out of and whatnot. So it worked for them, but they got this romantic thing going on. I really never bought into it. And I don't know if that's by design or not, but like I felt like there was never moments that I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is going to work. Like every time it's just like, yeah, nah, no chemistry here. I mean, yeah. But beyond that, then the movie takes a wild twist. One I also didn't buy into, but I guess I was intrigued to kind of see it play out, but I didn't buy into it. And that has a lot to do with the character Sky, who just goes down this other path of just different, shall I say, from how she originally was. So at this point now, I'm totally getting Lifetime movie vibes. I am, like, if you know what I mean, like, this woman went into like a damsel in distress, and then she just turns into an obsessed lover. And this is sort of like the recipe of Fatal Attraction, if you've seen that. It's also that by just definition, it is a fatal attraction. But then, yeah, so then at the point, then the film starts to then turn into the ID channel, like an episode of Deadly Women. And, you know, this is now going down the path of, like, the fine art of deception here. So, like, things are really taking a really different twist than how it originally started. But again, this has a lot to do with the character Sky and happening to really buy into what she's selling here. And Chris, while he is kind of like a man down on his luck, then he's kind of like doing better because now he got this girl. And then now he's obviously in trouble because everyone's after his money. I actually was kind of in for that. I was getting it. And Chris was played by Cameron Monaghan. And I thought he did a fantastic job in that. I mean, he had a lot to do with the roller coaster of emotion that the viewers had to buy into as well. I mean, by all means, I didn't buy into none of the dialogue in this. So, like, a lot of exchange of words between characters, between his character, Chris, and Sky, between this other landlord person, I didn't buy into none of the dialogue. So that's where I feel like a lot of it struggled here. But in terms of just, like, him embracing the situation that he was in, I was with it. But then Sky, again, it was just, I really was having a really difficult time with this character. I just don't know why. Oh, played by Lilly Krug at that. Because again, I just felt like the change of personality was so drastic and just almost unbelievable to a point. And I want to say that's a fantastic job by her in being able to wear these different hats. But like the progressions to it was just like night and day. I mean, one minute she loved him, then the next minute her whole tone, her whole everything. And I understand it probably has to do a lot with what's happening with the plot, but like it just didn't feel smooth to me. But I could be nitpicking, but I don't know. But also I gotta say too, I really didn't have any clue that this film was going to turn to like a mild horror film, because there was times where like things got really creepy, especially with the score, some blood, all of that. It really came together with some like good sounding of like, you know, the creepy sounds and all that other stuff. Turned into a mild horror film for a minute. So that's that. But then finally, because at this point again we forgot he was in the movie, when Frank Grillo, who plays the character Sebastian, enters the film, first of all, jaw-dropping moment the moment we see him, because like something crazy is about to happen, but that's that. But everything I did not like about the film has nothing to do with him. I thought his dialogue was good. I thought his character was interesting. I mean, finally, with the last 10 minutes left of the film, I got some hand-to-hand combat with him. It's funny that the first person that I get hand-to-hand combat from was not him, and it came from a very surprising character. I'm not even going to tell you, but like, I'm looking for these things. It's Frank Grillo. Y'all know what he brings to the screen. You know you're going to get some good choreography with some hand-to-hand combat. So like, I'm not reaching. That's just what you get with him, you know? But like his character was believable. His character brought another dynamic to the film. His dialogue was good. I mean, one of the best and one of my favorite lines came from him, and that meant it took an hour to get that, you know. So that's that. But you know, the ending of this film was definitely something to kind of just chuckle about. I mean, the future leaders of America, man. I tell you, if this is what our future is gonna be, I got questions. And also the film just kind of really just ends in a way where bad dialogue again, because who on their dying bed decides to do what they did, what this character did? I was just like, what? That's what you want to say when you're dying? Okay. Then the movie ends. But overall, with all the criticism here, I enjoyed Shattered. I did. I feel like this is a solid film to watch on demand digitally at home. I'm not sure how I would feel about going to see this in theaters, but I was entertained. Sure, it wasn't a perfectly good movie. Sure, it had its flaws, but I'm not mad at that. And there's no bias here. I feel like the recipe that this film presents is something you've seen in so many different ways that you're just kind of like, okay, I know what's going to kind of happen here. I know this is how it's going to play out. And like, yeah, that's why I didn't mind it. You know, it's one of those things like you've seen them all, but it's always interesting to kind of see how it's going to play out, because you never really know in this genre, especially when they're talking about in the likes of something like Fatal Attraction, who actually wins at the end, because typically it's the battered woman that comes back and you know and ends up getting her retaliation. But what about the roles were flipped? What about there was after the rich person, and the damsel in distress really isn't in distress? You know, all these type of possibilities here. So that's that. But hey, check it out, folks. Again, Shatter, it is going to be on DVD and Blu-ray February 22nd, available in limited theaters right now. Drop in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.
Avengers.